Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Type Zoe, and this is Transcendence Tier 3 Reckoning with Deuce, eald'narche, and Kurasame. So, this run is pretty fun, honestly. Well, it's fun for me. I don't know how fun it will be for the viewers because it's basically just an eald'narche stomp. He completely ruins this fight. I don't think he was very good for either of the Crucibles, but he really shuts down the Reckonings, which are pretty tanky bosses, and his combination of lockdown and defense debuffs will really help the team do damage. As you can see, even Deuce and Kurasame, who aren't the strongest characters just in terms of potencies, will be doing respectable damage in combination with his debuffs and Kurasame's Fiora, so that's something to look forward to. And this is a pretty long fight on 2x speed. It's almost 17 minutes, so I'm probably going to talk about some future channel plans and other things I have upcoming in the works, so look forward to that, and let's get started with Wave 1 here. So I pretty much went in with eald'narche immediately. I have the Bash Call on him because I know that Celeste Call was still bugged with his Brave regen on his work turn, so I went for the Bash Call instead, finally getting some use out of my Bash LDCA that has forever rotted on my bench for I don't know how long, I think since he released with Terra and his LB boards. But as you can see, they're not really able to do much of anything as I've got them stuck on their all attacks and phase shifted. And we are just going to go in because I don't really have much of a reason to save skills since this fight isn't obscenely long. I think I finished in around 75 turns or so, which is more than enough to only have to mix in HP pluses every now and again. We've got Kurasame for the party enchant. He's going to be bringing some nice speed down auras on his debuff. He's also going to be doing some respectable damage with his follow-up and his EX. As you can see here, that's pretty nice, almost 400k. And Deuce is mostly here for the orb on wave 2 because this team doesn't have any C slots other than Deuce herself, who already covers the HP regen orb that we need, so I was just not really wanting to bother, and I thought she would be faster than Galoof, adding a ton of turns to the animations, and also not working very well with eald'narche, who is my BT synergy, so I brought her instead, and she does mighty fine here. Just some decent auras. We don't really get to use her magic Brave damage boost, but she still has some party attack and overflows and 10% HP damage, so definitely comes in handy, and her damage is like, it's bad, but she'll cap on her Dissonant Sonata still, and that's like the most we can ask for Deuce. Please rework my girl for C90. I'm begging you, Square Enix. You did good on Kadaj, but now do something for me personally, and I love it. So just chipping away at their health. We're almost halfway through the first wave, so going pretty smoothly, honestly. I think we saved the burst and the summon for wave 2, but I could totally be lying about that. It's all a blur to me with eald'narche sometimes. But talking about things I want to be doing going forward with my channel, I'm going to be streaming every Monday with Raw Life and Blurtanian, so that's something you can do if you want to see more of my content, or just like some good roundups on weekly DFFOO discussion. There's already some great options for that, like Black Mirror's Ranting Hour, the TCC podcast on Thursdays and Wednesdays respectively, so those are two things you can check out, as well as our stream, which is need to be determined, but hopefully we come up for something soon. Honestly, we might be crowdsourcing it, so like, get in chat if you want a chance to name our stream. We'll be doing content if we have some available. I know we're going to be doing Divine Brothers for Raw Life's account for the stream, because I usually do content the day it drops, so not the best for initial clears on my end. Sometimes I'll be doing stuff if I want to do a TCC challenge. Maybe I've got BlueStacks available on my computer if I want to stream, so that's a nice option, and I think Blart might do some stuff too, I don't really know, but it'll be a good time, and we're probably thinking of playing other games too if it's like a drought for DFFOO, if there's nothing we really want to do fight-wise, so we'll always be talking DFFOO, but you'll have something interesting to look at depending on the week, so yeah, just get excited for that, and it should be fun. still doing 132,000 per HP plus. I gotta love Kurasame's blue armor here. It's just, those extra party cap increases are so good. He provides so much support towards hitting caps, combined with his Enchant Imperil and his super crazy 30% HP damage debuff. He just does such a good job of pushing your party and his own personal damage forward, like even Deuce hitting 115k there. Very, very nice stuff. And just pacing eald'narche a little bit, this wave is coming to a close, and we're about almost 30 turns in. This is a 100 turn count, I believe, with both waves, and not too difficult. I know most people completely snooze through this fight with some combination of either Warrior of Light or Galuf to protect them. Those were some key choices there. And then DPS options were looking like Tifa, who else? Sephiroth was the one that just released, who's doing some good DPS. There were some launch shenanigans with Lael. I just got his burst, actually. I probably would have used Lael's burst instead of eald'narche if I had a chance, and I might want Eld for tier 4 because there are some tricky crucibles in that one, and I know he does good for the right side, which are range damage, so that's something I might go back for and put Lael in this tier with, probably 9 in Kurasame would be a better Lael team. I could still bring Deuce, honestly, but it would be easier to fit an HP regen call on that team. Like Penelo's base call is 6 turns of HP regen, I believe, so that would be a good one if you wanted to not bring an HP regen character in the party for Wave 2. Yep, I've focused one of them down a little bit harder. I think the debuffs were slightly skewed one direction, and that's the reason I was doing it, or it might have just ended up that way. I don't know. The speed down debuffs can kind of screw with your turn orders and like the eald'narche breaking out of order and stuff like that, but I'm gonna reapply Kurasame's LD here, keep the enchant up, get the stacks to 5 for the end of the fight. He doesn't really have a problem with maintaining the debuff at a high enough level of stacks for it not to feel bad, because his Blizzaga skill takes them, even if they're at 1 stack, to 3 stacks on both characters immediately, which is 20%, which is pretty much the baseline for a good debuff, honestly. 20% HP damage is similar to all the party auras support characters have, and it's stronger than some of the better debuffs we've had previously, like Ignis and Gabranth, so even at 3 stacks, Kurasame is pulling his weight. It's just like at the 5 stacks, that's when you want to go in with your burst and summon and stuff like that. Or you can bring a full delay team, so that's another option too. Yep, gonna get started with Wave 2 here. Doing some great damage with the EX. That is almost 450k, gotta love to see it. Gonna drop our second bash call, of course. Get that lock back on eald'narche and continue on with the wave. Get our warp turns, apply some debuffs. I think we used the stellar burst already, so get that speed down. And I'm going to use our final LD here. Longevity isn't really a problem. As you can see, we're already more than halfway through, and eald'narche ends up spending most of his skills for this fight, but that's only because I was not pacing him like you properly should, and I was just spamming skills to get through things faster. If I wanted to, I could have ended the fight with eald'narche skills left, but we cleared it like pretty comfortably anyway, so it didn't really matter in the end. And yeah, these guys are, both these waves honestly are really tanky, so that's something to keep in mind, is why eald'narche's defense down is so good, because there are lots of clears with like Porom and Galuf that pretty much completely relied on battery to do damage, and they were hitting like triple-digit Brave hits at the end of the fights of both Wave 1 and 2, which is pretty disgusting to see, but we've got so many cool battery options right now. Lael is another character who batteries a lot and can amplify damage without having to do a ton of Brave damage himself, so there's some options if you don't want to. Ferris Call is very good for the Brave damage teams. You also have got Jack, who is a classic with the Katana Wounds debuff. I don't have Jack yet. I'm looking forward to getting him this month, so that'll be fun. And maybe I'll pick up Leon on the way too. who's got an interesting kit that I don't really know a ton about, but I know Arrow and Sign and other FT2 fans and just characters who like unique gimmicks will enjoy Leon, so that's somebody not to sleep for. Gonna refresh our overhead on Deuce because it is the thing that keeps the orb from murdering us, and getting pretty close to when I want to burst with eald'narche, I think. I definitely want to get Kurasame's stack higher up before. I'm checking his buffs to see what I need to reapply, so I'm gonna use a skill next turn with him, I think, to get the Exceed Lance back on. Oh, nope, wait a little bit more. Not optimal, but doesn't really matter. We're doing just okay on turns itself. And here we are going to get that 5 stacks back and refresh Kurasame's enchant for the final time. And go for the summon and get as much juice out of our 5-stack debuffs as possible, and we are gonna go into the burst phase after the summon. But yeah, other things with my channel going forward, what else is there? I do have a core video that's coming out this weekend, which I'm pretty excited for. Kaiden Cortez is going to be helping me with that one a little bit, as usual. He's like such a good guy for bug reports and like little fight research and stuff like that. You should definitely check him out if you haven't. He's got some cool stuff on his channel. He's like did a really fun, I think it's called Breaking the Limits with King, and he just kind of explores really old characters to see what the most you can do with them. It's not very useful for Lufenias, but it's just super cool to see them hitting good numbers. Like, I think he got King ZX to do almost 400k damage on the Chaos fight, which is cool to see, if nothing else. I'm gonna reapply our Terror here, and I believe we go into Burst after... Oh, I guess we wait a little bit longer and get Kurasame's debuffs back on, because I don't think I would go into Burst while one of them is at 1 stacks, but it's also possible that I will, and I'm just a Colossus screw-up and was not utilizing my eald'narche properly, so we'll see what happens. I did not watch this one. Yep, okay, I'm just a screw-up, and I let both of them drop. That is completely terrible. Don't do that, kids. Just burst while they have the stack, honestly, because I could be doing... This is still good damage. I think they end up somewhere in 2 million range. Excuse me. Ugh, voice crack. We love it. It's like high school again, and it still could be better. People have pushed eald'narche like close to 3 million on two enemy boss fights, and I imagine with Core especially, he could do some really crazy stuff, because Core, they're going to be locked into all attacks, and Core is going to be getting those double additional attacks every time eald'narche moves, so that would be cool to see. And yep, we got like 1.8 million, not too bad for me forgetting my Kurasame stacks worn off, so get those up and you'll easily break 2 million, and don't do what I did and waste more of your time. So, just gonna use a Blizzaga there, get some stacks faster up. And yeah, there's not too much else to say. eald'narche's burst effect is decent. I think it's some good brave damage up, and it's just nice that his debuffs don't have to worry about falling off while it's effective, so you can just kind of spam HP++ and let his partners do increased brave damage during his burst effect duration. It's more of a longevity tool than anything else, which isn't quite as necessary or powerful as other burst phases, but if you have no other burst characters, it's still a good one to choose from, and I think that it can also let him spam skills better, so it lets him keep up in shorter turn count fights via spamming skills on his warp turns instead of using HP++ all the time, so there's some good utility for it. And as you can see, we are pretty low on our skills. We've got 1 more of them each, so I'll use those for debuff reapplication, and the debuffs don't fall off for the fight, but I do have to spam HP++ for the last few turns, I think. See. What other calls did I bring? I think I brought Gabronth for some extra HP damage up, and I forget the other... Oh, the other one was Lael, because I just didn't need a delay with eald'narche, because he gets so much of his damage from off turns, and yeah, so I just brought Lael because I didn't have any other launching calls besides Cloud, and it did a little bit more damage, so minor optimizations, nothing that will break a run. But yeah, thanks for all the support so far. I feel like even though it's been slow, my channel's been growing steadily, and it's been really nice just pushing out content, and I'm gonna try to be releasing my runs in a much more speedy and consistent manner because Jesus Christ, this fucking tier has been out for like a week, and I am just uploading my Reckoning now, so gonna do better about that in the future. Gonna get my core run uploaded tomorrow, which is Kurasame, Arnea, and Yang, along with my core video itself, which is part of why the reason my other uploads have been kind of slow, because the Academy videos do take me a while, and I'm not a super fast editor. I think I'm getting better, but it still takes me a while to get things properly. I'm gonna get a nice launch with Deuce's LB here. I was talking about that in the Left Crucible, but she does get some cool opportunities with Lail to kind of fix her damage since she batteries the chase sequences after her attacks, so that's a fun little niche for Deuce. Just finding places to use her. She's a favorite. She's not the best, but you can still bring her. I bought her to almost 10 Lucenias, and she's still like putting in work for me because I have some of the best magic characters like Terra and Lail, so she'll slot in with them nicely. But yep, as you can see, eald'narche has pretty much run out of juice, but Deuce and Kurasame still hitting hard thanks to the defense downs and the enchant and peril, unlike some other teams we've seen, but we're about to finish things here on these warp turns, so thank you so much for watching as usual. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you can. It really helps me out and my motivation out, so those are both things you hopefully want to be in high standards. So yeah, thanks so much and have a great day. Bye, Nara.